In June 2006, a mobile MAPSANDS system was demonstrated at an unnamed site in the Middle East. The following video was recorded during this demonstration. By now, you should be familiar with the MAPSANDS system and the infinite flexibility that it provides for the wide area perimeter security application. In this demonstration, we were limited to a 1,000 meter range, and the warning in this sequence were projected over a 500 to 700 meter range. The following demonstration is comprised of a compilation of typical border/perimeter breach reenactments. In the first sequence, we have a random vehicle traversing the open desert terrain. The unknowing passengers soon realize they are approaching restricted area as they are greeted by a loud verbal warning and warning tone that seems to materialize out of thin air. In fact, this acoustic warning is being precisely projected at the intruders from a great distance.
You are approaching the exclusion zone around the border. This is a warning. Lethal force is authorized. Turn around and leave the area immediately. You have entered the protection zone around the border. Leave the area immediately or you will be fired on.
The approaching vehicle is first tracked by the MAPSANDS radar system, and the edge devices are alerted that a potential intrusion is forthcoming. As the vehicle approaches the predetermined no-go zone, the acoustic devices are targeting and tracking the intruders, and then verbal and acoustic warnings are deployed. In this case, the unwary intruders recognize the errors of their ways and immediately flee the area. In this sequence, the intruders encroach the border on foot, and like the previous vehicle-bound intruders are first identified, tracked, and targeted by the acoustical device and weapons platform using radar-translated coordinates. Verbal and acoustic warnings are delivered, intent is established, and the seemingly innocent intruders retreat.
You have entered the protection zone around the border. Leave the area immediately or you will be fired on.
In this reenactment, the intruders once again encroach, get warned, and retreat.
You are approaching the exclusion zone around the border. This is a warning. Lethal force is authorized. Turn around and leave the area immediately. You have entered the protection zone around the border. Leave the area immediately or you will be fired on.
In our final reenactment, our perpetrators are armed and determined. They similarly are identified, tracked, and targeted. Unfortunately, they do not retreat after numerous verbal and acoustic warning tones are delivered, and they have clearly demonstrated their ill intent and determination to breach the secure border perimeter.
You are approaching the exclusion zone around the border. This is a warning. Lethal force is authorized. Turn around and leave the area immediately.
Although the passengers have been warned that lethal force has been authorized, they continue along their ill-advised path. Once the vehicle crosses the predetermined no-go zone, which in this case is 400 yards, the 40mm airburst weapon system precisely tracks, aims, and fires multiple lethal rounds, destroying the vehicle and terminating its passengers.
You have entered the protection zone around the border. Leave the area immediately or you will be fired on.
Once again, MAPSANDS demonstrates that it can autonomously identify, track, target, warn, determine intent, and when necessary, disable aggressors with lethal or less than lethal means.